By August 1945, World War II had already caused massive destruction across the world. Nazi Germany had surrendered earlier that year, but the war in the Pacific between the United States and Japan was still continuing. Japan's military continued fighting despite heavy losses and devastating bombing raids across its cities. American leaders feared that invading Japan directly could lead to millions of casualties on both sides. To end the war quickly, the United States decided to use a powerful new weapon that had never been used in warfare before. This weapon was the atomic bomb. Only days after the bombing of Hiroshima, another atomic bomb mission was prepared. The target would be the Japanese city of Nagasaki. On the morning of August 9, 1945, an American B-29 bomber named Boxcar took off from the island of Tinian in the Pacific Ocean. The aircraft carried a powerful atomic bomb known as Fat Man. The mission was carefully planned by the United States military. The bomber flew toward Japan while several support aircraft accompanied the mission to observe the results of the attack. Initially, the primary target for the bombing mission was another city. However, poor weather conditions forced the crew to change their target during the flight. The bomber then turned toward its secondary target, the industrial city of Nagasaki. When the bomber reached Nagasaki, the crew prepared to release the atomic bomb. At 11:02 am, the bomb known as Fat Man was dropped from the aircraft toward the city below. Seconds later, the bomb detonated high above Nagasaki. The explosion created a massive fireball and a powerful shockwave that spread across the city. Buildings were destroyed instantly, and a huge mushroom cloud rose high into the sky. The atomic blast caused enormous destruction across Nagasaki. Entire neighborhoods were devastated within moments. The explosion became one of the most powerful and destructive events of World War II. The world had entered the age of nuclear weapons when the atomic bomb exploded above Nagasaki. The city experienced unimaginable destruction within seconds. The intense heat from the explosion burned buildings, vehicles, and everything in the surrounding area. A powerful shockwave spread across the city, destroying homes, factories, and infrastructure. Entire neighborhoods were flattened by the blast, while fires quickly spread across the city. The explosion created temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun at the center of the blast. Many buildings near the explosion were completely vaporized. Within moments, Nagasaki had become a city of fire, smoke, and devastation. The destruction caused by the atomic bomb shocked the world and demonstrated the terrifying power of nuclear weapons. The atomic bombing of Nagasaki caused enormous human suffering. Thousands of people were killed instantly by the powerful explosion and intense heat. Many others were injured by collapsing buildings, flying debris, and severe burns. Hospitals and entire neighborhoods were destroyed, leaving survivors struggling to find shelter and medical care. In the days that followed, many people began suffering from radiation sickness caused by exposure to the atomic blast. Doctors and rescue workers faced overwhelming conditions as they tried to help the injured. The devastation in Nagasaki became one of the most tragic humanitarian disasters of World War II. After the atomic bombing of Nagasaki, the Japanese government faced an extremely difficult decision. The destruction caused by the atomic bombs had shocked the country. Only 3 days earlier, the city of Hiroshima had also been destroyed by an atomic attack. Now, with 2 major cities devastated and the Soviet Union declaring war on Japan, the situation had become critical. Japanese leaders realized that continuing the war could lead to even greater destruction for their country. Inside government meetings, intense discussions took place about whether Japan should surrender to the Allied forces. The future of the nation now depended on this historic decision after the devastating atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan faced a critical moment in its history. The destruction caused by the bombs, combined with the Soviet Union entering the war against Japan, placed enormous pressure on the Japanese government. Japanese leaders realized that continuing the war could lead to the complete destruction of their country. Inside government meetings, officials debated whether surrender was the only option left. Finally, Emperor Hirohito made the historic decision to accept the Allied terms of surrender. This decision would bring an end to years of brutal conflict in the Pacific. The world was now only moments away from the official conclusion of World War II. On September 2, 1945, representatives of the Japanese government officially signed the surrender documents aboard the American battleship USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. Military leaders from the Allied nations attended the ceremony as Japan formally ended its participation in World War II. The signing of the surrender documents marked the official conclusion of the most destructive war in human history. After nearly 6 years of global conflict, the fighting had finally come to an end. Soldiers, civilians, and entire nations could now begin rebuilding their lives after the devastation of war. When news of Japan's surrender spread across the world, celebrations erupted in many countries. Crowds filled the streets in cities across the United States, Europe, and Asia to celebrate the end of World War II. After years of destruction and sacrifice, peace had finally returned. The end of the war marked the beginning of a new era in global history. However, the war also left behind lasting memories of loss and suffering for millions of people. Today, the events of World War II continue to be studied and remembered so that future generations can understand the consequences of global conflict.